to the agency. This is a video that people have asked me to do, and I just haven't done it. We did a Battlefield 3 video, we did a Black Ops 6 Delta Force kit breakdown video, but people have been asking me, hey, will you do a Battlefield 4 kit breakdown? Now, they've asked me for the Russian side, they've asked me for the Chinese, and honestly, I'm just not really interested in doing those kit videos because I'm not Russian nor Chinese. So if Battlefield 4 had a Mexican kit video, hey, maybe I'd be interested in that. But, you know, I'm an American. I'm interested in the American kit. The USMC dudes look the best to me. And a lot of stuff you can actually buy, you know, if you're interested in recreating some of these for airsoft or for the flat range. God forbid you go to a public range, for example, dressed up like the Assault from Battlefield 4. But if you want to do that, hopefully this video kind of serves as a guide for you. We're going to break down as best as I could the kit. It's probably about 90% accurate, and we're going to price everything as well. So we'll have a grand total for Assault, Engineer, Support, and Recon. So without further ado, let's start with my favorite class, the Assault. I think the Assault looks really cool. A lot of these characters look pretty cool, and something that people have always said is, hey, why are they wearing multicam? Well, there's an article I came across that was dated for 2024, and it said that the Marines, specifically Force Recon Marines, were wearing multicam, and then the Marine Corps came out and said, hey, stop wearing multicam, you're gonna start wearing frog suits, you know, as opposed to like cry multicam stuff. So, you know, the setting of Battlefield 4 takes place in 2020, so it's really not outside the realm of possibility that you have some Marine Force Recon guys wearing multicam. So I know people have criticized the game for that. It actually would be pretty accurate. Okay, so up top we got an Ops Core Fast helmet. I'll throw up numbers up on screen as well, so it'll be like cha-ching each time a price comes up, and then we're gonna have a grand total. You guys can kind of, I don't know what the prices are gonna be yet, but you guys will know watching the video. So we got an Ops Core Fast up top, a tan one, or a Coyote, I guess you could go with. Naruto's Tatum NVG mount up front. I wouldn't know anything about night vision because I currently don't have it. And then for ear protection, we got Comtacs. I've seen a lot of people online say these are Comtac 2s. The Comtac 2s kind of came out in the 2000s, like mid 2000s. The Comtac 3s, however, came out, I want to say early 2010s, late 2000s. So I think that if we were going off of like real world, they probably would be wearing the Comtac 3s, but for modeling purposes, they may be the Comtac 2s. If you're trying to put this kit together, the Comtac 2s are going to be more inexpensive, so you might want to go with those. As far as goggles go, we got the ESS night vision goggles. And then for a face mask, kind of hard to tell because you can't really see under that mask. It could be a just a normal balaclava, or it could be an XGO net gator. Those were the closest matches that I could find. As far as a base layer goes, we got a Cry G3 combat shirt and combat pants. The shirt being tan, and then the pants being in multicam or whatever color you choose to change your character to. So if it's chocolate chip, desert tricolor, woodland, even tiger stripe, the pants would change, and then I think the top changes shade, but it's always a solid color. So pretty simple. We got the G3, and then of course the pants have the Airflex knee pads built in as well. Now as far as the plate carrier goes, what he's rocking is an LBT 6094. You can tell kind of by these little strap right here, and even on like the way that the shoulder straps kind of sit, that's where we got here, and it looks like it's in Coyote. Now on that, you got a lot going on, so I'll try to break it down to the best of my ability. So we got just behind the Glock, we have a S&S Precision V-Light, and then we've got, you know, the actual Glock itself. I think this is either a Glock 17 or 9. I assume they're modeling the Glock 18, you know, because the G18's in the game. I'm assuming they just modeled that and put it in, you know, in the holster. And then the holster itself is actually a Safariland 6378 USN. Just above that, we see a U94 push to talk, and then next to that, a VIP strobe. You can get those like on, I forget what website, I'll throw it. You guys are seeing everything. I don't even know what it is yet. And then moving down, we've got, kind of hard to make out in this image, but we've got a 3-mag shingle back here. That's going to be the LBT 6146C triple shingle. And then on top of that, you got a couple of Eagle Industries FB style double pistol mag pouches. And then to the right of that, you actually got some 40mm M203 grenade pouches. So the Assault class in the game actually utilizes the M203, or the M320, I should say. So he's also the Grenadier. He can be, you know, that's why it's called Assault, not just Medic, because they can use grenades and they can use medical equipment. So it's kind of up to the player. But it's represented, whether you're using medical equipment or not, it's always going to have those Eagle Industries, you know, grenade pouches on him. And then to just kind of slightly behind that, we got a Magpul PMag with a Ranger plate on it. And that appears to be in a single kind of top M4 mag pouch, so we'll throw that up on screen as well. We got an AN PRC, I think you said that prick, 148 MBTIR radio, so that's probably going to be pretty expensive. We got a couple of chem lights. I actually decided to throw that into the total price of everything. Left of that, we got a couple of Eagle Industries, that's what it stands for, frag pouches as well. As far as the belt goes, he's got a tactical Taylor 40mm M203 belt. I just wrote belt here, but it's belt. That's not something I need to buy because I don't have a grenade launcher, but if you're in the business of that, I guess, hey, knock yourself out. Tactical Taylor makes a belt for you. Tucked away here, kind of hard to see in this image, in between the Eagle Industries mag pouches and the chem lights is going to be an Extrema Ratio BF2 Classic Tanto military folding knife. So Milrock military harness, this is kind of what I identified. I looked at some of the guides online. People have put some of this kit together. They haven't gotten everything. I've kind of had to go back in and verify stuff and kind of identify new stuff, and this is one of those items. I went ahead and called this a Milrock military harness. And of course we already covered the pants and stuff. As far as boots go, closest match, I believe these to be the Loa Elite Desert Combat boots as well. Now, getting a different angle of the helmet, you also get a different angle of the headphones here. You also see a ops core mount for contour cameras on the right side on this piece of rail on the right side of his helmet. To the rear, we got an MS-2000 IR strobe. If you've played Tarkov, you recognize this thing as like you got to go around to the fuel trucks and put the MS-2000s on. That's what it is, an IFR strobe. We got an MVG lanyard sitting up here. Again, kind of hard to see, so we'll just throw that into the cost. The TAC Ops M9 Assault Backpack with a little carabiner up top. Now, Spartan 117GW, he did a really good kit. Like, he actually did like a good kit as opposed to what I've done. And he has like the right backpack and everything, so I encourage you to go like check out some of the shorts and some of the content he's put out with the assault class breakdown. But as far as the backpack goes, that's what it is. It's the TAC Ops M9 Assault medical backpack. So pretty cool that you actually see the characters representing the kit that they are kind of also using in game. You know, this guy being either a medic or a grenadier has both of those things on display here. Moving on, we got another M60 pouch. This is an Eagle Industries 100 round M60 pouch. You know, he's not a support gunner, so I'm assuming maybe he's throwing some kind of medical equipment in there, you know, whatever the case is. And then as far as this little fanny pack thing on his right hip, this is the Emden USA Recon waist bag. Again, you could just throw some loose medical items in there or whatever. Guys, some of the guys I saw online were calling this on top of his helmet an SNS Precision V-Light, same thing that was on his plate carrier, but from this angle it's pretty hard to tell. You also got a few more chem lights on the back, some trauma shears on top of that M9 backpack, and then you got a TQS MET tourniquet to the left, or just hanging off of the left of that backpack. And then of course we've got that M4 mag pouch we spoke about earlier. Looks like there's, or I should say that actually there's a different one. To the left of that pouch, back here would be an open top mag, and then you've got a LBT 6159 M4 mag pouch. Just extra ammo to have on hand for fighting the Chinese. And then as far as left side of the helmet goes, the last thing would be the Princeton, I don't even know what I wrote here, but it's a light essentially. So okay, now we're going to actually skip over engineer for right now, and we're going to go to what I think is going to be the second most expensive guy. I'm thinking the assault's #1, and then I think support's going to be most expensive, and then engineer, and then recon. That's kind of my guess, but we're going to go to support for that reason, and because the pictures are a little bit more clear, it's easier to follow along, and then engineer and recon are a little bit less. So starting again with the support up top, ESS NVG goggles. Now the assault had him on his eyes. He's got him, you know, inside the covering on top of his helmet, which is a Mitch 2001. I actually don't think I have that labeled here. Oh yeah, I do. It's a high cut Mitch 2001. You can tell just because of the lining of the helmet here. There's no arc rails on it. You know, there's the Mitch 2000, which is like the full size, and then you got the 2001, which is what he's wearing. On the left side of his helmet, left side, we've got a Surefire HL1. Reading a little bit about these lights, apparently they suck. They're really no good. This was also represented in Battlefield 3's assault class. He had one, I think, on the same place. So pretty cool to see that make a comeback, I guess. And then of course on the other side we have a headlamp. Now the headlamp is a Petzl Tactica XP headlamp, E89 PC. There actually is a portion on the helmet, I want to say somewhere on his helmet, where it actually says Petzl, so you can actually see that there. The rotor shroud underneath, a black one. As far as the balaclava goes, somebody online had called it a USMC balaclava. I couldn't find any balaclavas that had only 2 eyes, so I was just calling this like a normal knit ski mask. And that's pretty much like a bank robber kind of mask. Shema underneath, pretty inexpensive. You get those for like 12 bucks or so. And again, we're seeing that VIP light marker. I think every single class has the VIP and some sort of push to talk. So they really did their due diligence in making sure these guys had, you know, very different kinds of IR identification and combo setups, because all the characters have that. Speaking of combo, we got the U94 push to talk once again represented here. Kind of a bit hard to see, but hopefully you guys can make that out. Now on his plate carrier, he has the, I don't want to misspeak here, but it is also the Eagle Industries Cirrus Maritime in multicam. And on the front of that carrier, he has a MLCS admin panel with a pistol pouch. So you can see this is the panel. There's a flap here. He's got 2 American flags, and then he's got that extra pistol mag there. To the right of that, this appears like a tourniquet to me. I think it is a TQS tourniquet again, or a soft tourniquet, because it's not cat. This is a tan one. And the closest ones I could find were going to be those TQSs. To the right of that, we got the MLCS pistol pouch, 2 times Eagle Industries. These are going to be a couple of Eagle Industries mag pouches once again. His base layer actually is pretty cool looking. He actually shares the same player model or character model as Pac in the campaign. It's just they change his head out. And what they're wearing is a Pride Precision G3 Field regular shirt in black. Of course, for the pants, we got the Cryo Precision G3. I actually did see some people online calling these G2 pants. Now, the difference between the G2 and the G3, I believe it's just like the G3s are a little more fitted and the G2s are a little more baggy. So you could really not go wrong with either, in my opinion, if you were trying to, you know, recreate this. Moving back to the plate carrier, we got ourselves an M9 in here inside of a, looks like an Eagle Industries magazine for an M16 pouch, and then a little tack link hanging off from that. We got a couple chem lights here on this LBT M60 pouch. I believe one of these is a saw pouch. I'm not exactly sure which one, but he's got 4 magazine or M60 / saw mag pouches. One being here. You can also see a tourniquet represented attached to that. 3 there, and then actually 1 on his leg. Now on the leg, he also has a MLCS flare pouch, and that's all connected on a LBT 9004 drop leg panel. So actually, you don't see a lot of people rocking stuff like this anymore, I feel, especially within our space, like civilian stuff. Like I want to get like a drop leg panel and just like put stuff on there, because I think it kind of looks cool. It's kind of an old school setup, but you know, if he's able to store little extra items in there, I think it's pretty cool. I identified this LBT 9004 by this little buckle, this little strap and button right here, as opposed to some of the other you know, other companies that make stuff. As far as the gloves go, a lot of people say, I actually missed that on the assault. We'll put that in post here. This is what the assault's wearing, and here's what the support's wearing. So he's wearing green Oakley pilot gloves, not the, I think they're outdoor research, I forget what they're called. There's like these pair of gloves that everybody thinks that they're wearing, and they're wearing that in the first person player model, but in third person, when you're looking at them, they're all wearing different gloves. Many of them are wearing Oakleys, as you see this guy here. So kind of moving around here, we also, like I said, mentioned the tourniquet already. As far as a belt goes, this is a Blackhawk rescue belt, and he's got a personal retention lanyard. I'm not sure, I don't do a lot of helicopter work admittedly, so I think that this is for hooking up to something like that. But I also know that they have like pistol lanyards as well, which I always thought was kind of weird. I believe that this would be for like helicopter insertion kind of, you know, operations such as that. Let's see, outdoor research leg gaiters. These things are pretty good for keeping bugs and whatnot out of your shoes, or just if you're doing a lot of nasty deep brush, you can get the, you know, outdoor research is pretty well known for the leg gaiters, and that's what he's got on there. And then as far as the boots go, they kind of look to me, initially I thought they looked like the Rocky S2Vs, but they also kind of appear like the Oakleys. I'm not sure if they took creative liberties to do it, or if I'm just wrong on what the boots actually are, but that's what the way they look to me, just based on the way that the sole is, the rubber around here, and these little marks, they just look reminiscent of the Oakley or the Rockies to me. Moving back up to the helmet, missed the Comtac 2s in there, so we could throw that up. And then we got a tack link once again in between that M60 pouch and his FS Eagle Industries medical IFAK, which is on his back rear. I'm not sure if that's done for like teammates and whatnot, so they can get medical equipment, or if it is for him, you know, his own personal usage. Now moving on to the back, we've got, starting at the helmet, a counterweight pouch for fast helmets, which I found on like Amazon. I couldn't find like an exact one. It might be Eagle or LBT, because a lot of the stuff is either Eagle or LBT. I just found a cheap one on Amazon, so we'll just kind of throw that up. He's also got some lever bolt croppers. He's got that strapped to either a Fly MBSS hydration backpack or an Eagle Industries modular salt pack. Those both look the same to me, so you could go with either one and be fine. We also got a couple of Safariland zipper handcuffs, you can actually tell on the back of the Molly here, and then a PRC 152 antenna that's attached. I don't think I missed anything else. Oh, here we got a MSA Paraclete style of MBITR radio pouch. I identified this actually with the help of ChatGPT, because I asked him, I said, hey, what is a pouch for radios that has a little bit of elasticity to hold like an IR or a chem light, and it kind of has a flap. And it pulled up like 3 different ones from around 2013, and I was able to identify this off of, I think Shekin Gears makes a reproduction of it, and that's the closest match I could find. So we can assume he also has a radio in there, so I guess you could throw that into the added cost or whatnot. But that's the support class. Now let's move on to the engineer. What's up with the phenomenon in Battlefield? It feels like, you know, if I try to play assault, support, whatever, it always doesn't work out, and I need to go back to the engineer because the enemy team always has a bunch of tanks that are eliminating our entire force. They're eliminating everybody, and it's like I gotta be the only guy. Feels like I'm the only guy out there with a small or an RPG trying to destroy these things. And then when you jump in a tank and you go to the enemy, you're killed immediately because everybody's got an RPG or C4 on them. I don't know what that is, but I'm tired of it. It's kind of like the meme was like the Rothschilds making me play engineer and be the only guy on my team trying to destroy these tanks. But engineer is a favorite class of mine for obvious reasons. I've come to love it because of this. And his kit is actually going to be a little bit more expensive just off the top because of his helmet setup, or his lack of, I should say. No helmet. He's got a coyote brown hat. Actually, I think it's important to note there's no Velcro up here, so if you're looking to clone it, he doesn't have Velcro. So it's just a blank ball cap. I think I found one online. Again, we'll throw that up. We'll get the totals and everything you guys are seeing, and I don't even know what it looks like yet because I haven't edited the video. Now, as far as headset go, once again, we're back to that Contact 2 or 3, and then I found some Saber Advanced Ballistic Goggles that look very similar to the ones that he's wearing. So we got those up top. A Warrior Assault Systems medium admin pouch with an American flag. This could also be an LBX because they look pretty similar. And admin pouch, you can just throw whatever you want in there, maps or, I don't know, your phone maybe, I don't know, whatever you want to throw in an admin pouch. Again, we got that VIP light indicating that these guys care about the IR strobe signature. U94 push to talk, and there's this device here to the left. I'm not exactly sure what it looks like. Kind of looks, if you look at the circular portion, almost looks like a TCI push to talk that was present on the Battlefield 3 medic, but I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at. It's kind of hard to make out from the images, and in game it's kind of hard to tell because the resolutions, they're kind of low because I play on the PS4. Resolutions aren't that good, so it can be kind of hard to identify some of this stuff. Base layer, once again, we got a Cry Gen 2 combat shirt with Gen 3 pants and those knee pads that are already built in. And then for plate carrier, so for plate carrier, we've got the 6094 Alpha. That's what we're rocking for base plate carrier. So LBT Eagle, those seem to be really popular. And on that plate carrier, we have another triple M4 magazine pouch tucked away here. And then on top of that, we got an ITW fast mag. We've got some chem lights once again. You have a Leatherman multi-tool tucked away. Again, kind of hard to see from this image, but that's what he's got rocking there. And then we've got I believe this is a tourniquet here. I thought that this was maybe a tourniquet, but I might have to double verify that. And we'll check it out in post. Important note, little watch, something I missed right here on the right shoulder strap. He's got a Summit, what is like a Summit M9 Northern Hemisphere compass tied there, and I think he's got the same thing for a watch, but I'm not entirely sure there. Gloves are going to be Oakley's, so they're black Oakley gloves, not the ones that you see in the first person model. Armband, so I wrote up here armband 4.0 battle board tactical armband, just something to throw right here for whatever you need, I guess, like a little quarterback playbook kind of thing. As far as a belt goes, we got an Eagle Industries frag pouch. I missed actually these LBT double pistol mags over here. We got a tack link hanging from the belt, and that belt is going to be a SOE Cobra belt. You can tell it's got the Cobra belt buckle and everything. You also got a retention lanyard, once again for helicopter insertion or for whatever the case. And then moving on to his right side, on his right shoulder, we got a TNVC EOG. That's kind of just, you know, holding a couple of the chem lights, batteries, whatever you need to hold. M18 grenade, kind of funny. I looked up the price for this, so we're gonna actually include that into the whole price of the kit. So he's got a smoke grenade on his back there, and then he's got a couple of flashbang pouches tucked under his right arm here. Those would be LBT. Of course, we got another Glock. This is the same Glock that they're all utilizing, so Glock 17 for whatever. And then a Safari Lens 6378 USN once again. And then on the back, we got a pair of bolt cutters sticking out of, I believe, a LBT hydration pouch. And this is where it kind of gets weird. I couldn't identify what this is. I have no idea what this device to the left of the smoke grenade is. That's just sitting on his like right kidney. I just don't know what that is. But to the left, this is a TCI mast. And then on the back of the belt, we've got a LBT blowout kit, kind of little IFAK. And then I didn't know what these were. And it actually turned out to be a Pecky flotation device. Now looking up some videos and photos of what these things do, apparently you just like grab the handles and you pull them and it just creates like giant floaties. Like when you were learning how to swim as a kid, those like floaties you put around your arm. This is just deployable on your belt. So if you know, these guys are doing maritime operations, they're Marine Force Recon attached to the Navy ship, just like in the campaign. It makes sense that they'd have like a little flotation device so that, you know, they're wearing a lot of gear and whatnot, body armor, or they're in an emergency situation, helicopter goes down, whatever the case, you can pull those things out. He's got 2 of them and it will deploy a flotation device, which I think is pretty neat. And as far as the boots go, I believe these are also the Loa Elite Combat boots. So, you know, all in all, a little cheaper than what the other guys are wearing. So the grand total is going to be this. And I don't know what it is because I haven't edited it yet. Now let's move on to the last one, and I think the most challenging one, and that's going to be the Recon. Alright, I'm going to need my notes on this one because I actually didn't label this guy yet, but it's okay. We're gonna figure this out together. The Recon has been a real challenge. So some of the other classes, Assault, Support, Engineer, there's actually been some airsofters that have put some lists together of kit that they have utilized. You know, I've gone through and I have verified that kit, I've priced it, and I have identified some new stuff or corrected some stuff that was wrong. And that's kind of what this whole video is. When it comes to the Recon, almost no one has done it. I think Airsoft Alphonse had a Reddit post where him and a couple guys did it, but they didn't do a gear list or anything like that. And I haven't asked anybody either. We're trying to figure this out. We're trying to make this on our own. But let me tell you, when it came to the Recon, it was a real challenge because I went into the game, like I said, and it was low resolution. I couldn't find a lot of good images online, so we just kind of had to go with what was best and try to use the best judgment. So I will try and walk us through this together and hopefully we can make it out. So up top, we're keeping it pretty simple. Again, I think he's going to be pretty cheap because he's just got a boonie, and that boonie is default multicam, and then it changes colors based on whatever, you know, you choose, the player chooses to whatever camo you want to wear. I got some face paint, no ear protection. I suppose he could have some inner ear stuff, but he doesn't have any exterior ear protection like that. And then we have a scarf here. So this would be like a sniper scarf. I just kind of looked that up on Amazon and found some stuff pretty easily. Now, as far as the base layer goes, he's got this kind of multiple color thing going on here. So his most outer layer looks like a, I think it's a Delta Viper hood. This is a kind of a crop top of a crop top thing that just sits. It's for snipers. So it's got a hood, it's got some mesh stuff on the you know, the arms here on the biceps, so you can weave in ghillie stuff. As far as the base layers go, this is where it's kind of challenging. So easy identification with the pants and the boots and the gaiters. Outdoor research gaiters again. The boots, I don't remember what they are. I don't have a notes on me right here, but they are these boots. We'll throw it in post. And then Cry G3 pants or G2, depending on whatever. We got those combat pants once again. And then he's got like a green, I think this could be a green Cry shirt, but it also looks like there is a sleeve that is rolled up right here with this like two-tone base layer. I don't know if this is like a frog undershirt, long sleeve sort of deal, or I don't really know what's going on there, but it could be a Cry shirt. We're gonna call it a Cry shirt with a frog undershirt, and they just decided to take some color differences. But if you guys know in the comments, feel free to let me know. As far as the plate carrier goes, hard to identify the plate carrier. I went in and looked at this character for about an hour on the PlayStation, because I have 2 PlayStations. My wife and I both play, so I would just set her up, I would look at mine, or vice versa. I was on her console actually looking at me, trying to look at all the aspects, and just because of all the different colors, it's really hard for me to tell, you know, what this character is wearing. He also has a backpack, so the shoulder straps are covering the potential straps of the carrier and the chest rig, and then he's got a backpack, of course, with the hood, everything covering. So it's just really hard to get in there and see, not to mention that the character is holding a gun, or their arms kind of get in the way of, you know, what you can actually see through. So I really have no idea what plate carrier is wearing. I thought at first it was the Cirrus Maritime because of the little tab right here, but the other characters are wearing that, and the tab looks a lot skinnier on them, and it's really wide on this one. So I did find one in post. I'll throw it up on screen now. That was a pretty close match, but still not perfect, and I really don't think that's what it was. Now, he is wearing a chest rig sort of system, and I think that this is a TAPS rig. He's not utilizing the actual magazine pouches in there. He's using it just as a panel. I also saw a Condor one, but Condor doesn't make real gear. They just copy other gear, you know what I mean? So I'm assuming this would be a TAPS rig. He is Marine, so I think it's a safe bet. And then he's got a couple of, I think these are LBT double magazine pouches. He's fitting a couple, you know, AR pouch or AR mags, whatever he's got in there. To the right of that, we got Blue Force Gear SR25 mags, and those magazines have the little mag pull tabs on them. Left shoulder, I'm sorry, above the left breast, we've got ourselves this looks like a push-to-talk, like a dual push-to-talk adapter, because it's kind of running cables from under it. He's got rubber bands on it, so I believe that's what he's got routed with his comms. And then to the left, we got a PCI push-to-talk, which is the push-to-talk we've seen in, you know, Battlefield 3 and whatnot. And then we got a couple of magazine pouches. I believe these are M9 mags, but those would be, I had to actually go into ChatGPT and look. I was like, hey, what are some like plastic or Kydex mag pouches that came out around 2013? It spat out a bunch of different things, and I ended up finding an image that looked just like the one in game, and that is going to be a ITW Fast Mag pistol pouch. So to the right of that, we have, I believe this is an LBT 6133 radio pouch, because it has those elastic bands on it. He's got a couple of chem lights as well, so we can throw that into the whole cost of everything. And then on his left arm, we've got another one of those armbands for all of his sniper necessities. And then as far as the gloves go, I identified these gloves as Oakley lightweight Nomex gloves. That's kind of the closest match I was able to find, because you can see the Oakley logo on some of these, which I thought was pretty cool. He also has another, I'm not sure if this is like a GPS sort of device on his right wrist, and a paracord bracelet. Now as far as a belt goes, this is a SOE. Yeah, it's an SOE Cobra belt, so we got that Cobra buckle on there, and then we've got another Glock 17 in the same whole, you know, Farland holster that we've been seeing, you know, constantly. But really not a lot of stuff on his belt. And then on the back, we've got the LBT blowout kit, IFAK, and then we got a little knife sticking out. I don't know what knife exactly it is. I'm really not a knife guy, so I just said it's called like the Weaver knife in the game. So take that knife. I said 200 bucks, maybe 250 bucks. I don't know how much that would really. I'm not, like I said, I'm not a huge knife guy. And then for his backpack, we have this is actually an LBT 3-day jumpable pack, because there's a little bit of elastic here on the bottom of it. You can actually see the LBT logo on the right side of the backpack. They did like modeled it all like that. So it's pretty cool to see. You don't really see that in games these days. It's just like a error, I guess, but they have the whole LBT logo right there on the backpack in game, which I thought was pretty cool. Then off top of the backpack, we got a Eagle Industries frag pouch, and then another flare pouch. And then to the left, we've got another PRC 152 radio antenna, and then another tubular. It looks like some sort of other antenna. I'm just not sure what it would be, but we've also got that represented there. I think that's pretty much it. I think I already mentioned the boots and the gaiters. But that's pretty much as I could find on this character. This was a real challenge to try and identify some of this stuff, but Battlefield 4, because I think the characters are modeled really well and really accurately. These probably are the coolest looking characters next to Battlefield 3. You know, I prefer Battlefield 3. Even though I believe Battlefield 4 is a technical better game in almost every aspect, I still think Battlefield 3 is better. I just hold a special place in my heart for it. I kind of imagine somebody who, you know, maybe they were a kid when they watched Star Wars back in 1977, and the first time you go and you watch that movie, back in the day, people had their minds blown. They had no idea what they were seeing. It was, you know, special effects wise and all this stuff, it was incredible to people. And then when Empire Strikes Back came out, they kind of already had an idea of what to expect, so they were less blown away, even though it is a better movie technically. I think that's kind of how I feel about Battlefield 3 and 4. 4 is a upgrade, I think, in many ways, but 3 holds a very special place in my heart because it was one of the first ones to really do it for me. I mean, you had combined arms, gameplay, jets, tanks, everything. It had a really cool, also G-Watt aesthetic to it that I talked about in my Battlefield 3 video. It had a really good balance of like Middle East maps and like some European stuff going on. Really a phenomenal game all the way around. This is just turning into another Battlefield 3 glaze sesh. But Battlefield 4, I think, is unique and cool for different reasons because it takes you to that postmodern G-Watt era. You know, a lot of the guys in Battlefield 3 are rocking Eagle Industries, you know, sort of kit. You're seeing Frog uniforms being worn and whatnot in the campaign. You're even seeing, you know, just normal Marine Corps uniforms. And in this, you're seeing multicam. You're seeing cries being represented here. You're seeing Ops Corps helmets. It's kind of bridging the past GWAT era to the modern era. And a lot of the guns and whatnot, maybe some of the attachments are a little bit dated, but they still hold up very well. Now, the game came out in 2013, but it takes place in 2020, and I think they nailed a lot of the current events of the world and whatnot. You know, you got like the conflict with China and Russia and all the kind of stuff going on in that game that I think are done really well in Battlefield 4. And when you go and play it, I think there was like a picture of Nancy Pelosi visiting like Shanghai or something, and there's like this cool picture, and it kind of looks like Battlefield 4. So they really they accurately predicted the future potentially. Hopefully not, but the aesthetics of the game are really on point, and it really captures that 2020s era of conflict, potential World War III setup. So pretty cool game. And really all we want for Battlefield 6, what I want for Battlefield 6 is Battlefield 5's mechanics, but with the Battlefield 4 skin. I think everyone would be universally happy with that. Time will tell if it's going to work out that way. I know they're actually bringing the British into the game, which would be kind of cool. You know, it's just going to be like NATO versus like Blackburn's forces, which should be interesting. I hope the game delivers, but, you know, until then, we'll keep doing kit videos and we'll keep taking a trip down memory lane to appreciate some of these older Battlefields, because I really think that they had something special going with the developers, and just that era of gaming is really iconic and it stands out to a lot of us. And I think it's responsible for a lot of us becoming gun owners because, well, I don't know, that sounds cringe, but I will say, like, in our modern, as we've grown up and we've gotten into guns, we've gotten into this kind of stuff, I think that these games have had some kind of impact on, you know, the way we think about things. So without further ado, I appreciate you guys sticking around watching the video. I hope you guys got something out of it, and I hope you guys go clone the assault class setup for $7,000 and head to your local range and make the RSOs and the boomers angry with your assault LARP. Hope you guys have a good rest of your day. See you on the next one.